What is up? Welcome back to the Tomahawk Talk podcast. As always, I am your man, Jeb Mays, and with me today we only have Jose. Ryan and Ben are gone. I know Ben had a big wedding anniversary that he was dealing with, I guess you could say. And I guess Ryan was just wanting to take the night off, which I understand. But Jose, how we doing?
Good, man. How are you?
We're pretty good. We're gonna jump into it. Some news. The Jurickson Profar news pretty much is the hot topic. Escaped, I guess, is what you could say. Bone bruise. I'm not no human body expert, but I know bone bruise sounds a whole lot better than broken wrist. And I saw a couple things on the timeline where people were saying, "Why do we dive for that?" I mean, that's a diveable ball. I didn't think it was a out of the ordinary dive, but I get the point where they're saying like it's spring training, let it fall. you know.
Yeah, definitely. It's easy to say that with hindsight when Jurickson Profar dove for that ball and ended up hurting his wrist or his bone, but it's just baseball, man. Spring training or regular season, those guys are going to go out there and try their best, and I don't blame Jurickson one bit for trying to go for that ball.
No, I don't hate it, but I was wondering. I didn't get to see the full video, but I wonder if like who came. I think it was Michael that came up and got the ball.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder if he threw a seed into second.
that I do not remember. I'd love to go back and see that.
Speaking of sunflower seeds, the Tomahawk Talk podcast is now sponsored by Chinook Seedery. If you use our promo code TTP, that is T as in titties, T as in titties, and P as in platypus, you will get 10% off your order at checkout. Go give them a look. We have tried, or I have at least tried almost all the flavors. I love every one of them. The jalapeno ranch was a little too hot for me. I will not lie. But go give them a follow on X, TikTok, all that stuff. They're really good people over there, and got some really good seeds, man.
Honestly, love them. I've only tried two so far, lemon pepper and parm and pepper, and they're both banging, dude. What I like the most about them is honestly the low amount of sodium, just because I
Yes,
don't like overly salty things, and I just feel like I can slam a handful of those no problem.
the parm pepper is absolutely amazing. I
Yeah, it
love the
is.
parm pepper.
That one's got to be my favorite so far.
Yeah, I told you it was good, man. I told you it was good. Um, but yeah, the Jurickson Profar, I think we escaped a real big blow right there. Coming signing him in the off season and then him coming. Oh, what are we? 2, 3 weeks from opening day, and to have him potentially be out for probably a month to a month and a half. I mean, that would have not been good at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we all kind of breathed a sigh of relief, when we got that news. So,
I was refreshing my damn page, and Bowman left us out to dry. He didn't even break it till like 2 days later.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, I thought we were going to get the full news tomorrow, Monday. Um, but we got the news earlier today, and all good. Seems like he'll be ready for opening day.
All good. Yep. Um, Another thing too we haven't touched on is Sean Murphy. I know that's pretty old news, but him going down. I know we're all pretty much Sean Murphy advocates here. The way he handles a pitching staff, the way he is a gap to gap power threat as a catcher, I think you can't mimic that. You have guys in the Braves organization in the past like Tyler Flowers and Kurt Suzuki who were very good and reliable veteran catchers, but they were swinging their grandma's purse at the plate. Um, so having a guy like TDA, Sean Murphy, I think that has been a real upgrade for the Braves here the past couple seasons. What did you make of him getting hit in the back and fracturing his rib?
I mean, I honestly hate to see it. It's just more tough luck for Sean Murphy, and honestly hate it for him, especially after 2024. There's of course all the dialogue and all the talking points of people online saying, "Oh no, here we go again." But I mean, it's baseball. What was he supposed to do? Not let the ball hit him? Like stuff just happens once in a while, man.
I'd love to stick some of these fans in the box and point 95 at them and see their reaction time. I mean, it'd be pretty funny, I think.
Exactly.
Well, actually, no, it probably wouldn't because there'd have to be an ambulance on standby. I mean,
Exactly,
it
man.
wouldn't be good.
It's
Um,
crazy. Like all of 2023, he had a OPS above 900 for most of the season. He was phenomenal. 2024, obviously, we all know the first day he gets hurt, his oblique. And I mean, you can't really come back from an injury like that. The whole season was pretty much down the drain from the first day. But I mean, I feel like if people just give him a little bit more time, we'll see 2023 Sean Murphy back for sure.
oh yeah, oh yeah, and I mean for his defensive ability too. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that. He's one of the best, if not the best, defensive catcher in the game.
Exactly. Like if you see the stats of when Sean Murphy catches people, like Chris Sale, for example. Chris Sale, when Sean Murphy caught Chris Sale, his ERA was under 2, I believe. And with everybody else, it was above 2 something. Of course, Cy Young, so he was obviously
Yeah,
great the whole year. But Sean Murphy just brings out the best of those pitchers, no doubt about it.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's you touched on it. Tough luck, man. I mean, hurting your oblique, and that's one of those things where it can be healed in 2 weeks, and then you roll out of bed and scratchy nuts and cough, and you just feel it in your side again, and you're hurt all over again and have to do the process all over. So
Absolutely.
it's touchy, and in the way this lineup is constructed, you don't have to have Sean Murphy going out there going 30, 40, 50 home runs. I mean, if he can hit 250, if, obviously we've seen him do better, but if he can slash, like 260, 330, with a, I don't know, 750, 800 OPS, I mean, that you'll take that all day with the way he catches.
Absolutely, man. Like 2023, we can go back to that. He had 251, 365 on base, and 478 slug. Only 21 home runs. Again, quote unquote, only 21. But that's all you need out of the catcher position, man, especially with his defense.
That was his most he'd ever hit in a year, correct?
It was.
Yeah, career high. Yeah, because didn't like 19 or 20 of them come before the All Star break?
Yeah.
Yeah, there for like, I think it was like 2 or 3 months. He was like fourth in MVP voting, and it was the
Man,
funniest thing ever.
it's crazy. For a certain time, we had Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson, and Sean Murphy making a run for MVP. It was absolutely wild.
Yeah. So, with that being said, a couple names are floating around on who could probably get the call up. Kurt Casale, Sandy Leone, Drake Baldwin. What is your take on that?
Man, I am a Drake Baldwin believer. I am ride or die for Drake Baldwin. I feel like, from what we've seen in spring, he should be catching most of the days. I would make him my opening day catcher.
Really?
I would.
Me and Ryan, like Ryan was gonna yell at me in the group chat for this. I want Baldwin to be called up. I do. But I'm saying it would not surprise me if he wasn't.
No, for sure. I could see that as well.
I could see them doing like probably Casale. I think they'd want to hang on to Leone. I just personally feel like Leone's probably more durable. This is just going off the brain though. I don't have any numbers in front of me with them, and Leone's a left-handed bat. So if they bring up Casale, you're gonna have Trump and Casale, both right-handed bats, and I know how they like to mix and match the lineup depending on starters. I don't know. I'm advocating for Baldwin to come up. I mean, he's hitting 300 this spring and 18 at bats. He's got an 800 OPS, and I saw somewhere the other day where he didn't have any whiffs at all, or he had like one of the lowest amount of whiffs in all of spring this year so far.
Did he? That's incredible.
Yeah. Um, I'm seeing a lot of Brian McCann comps, which I love me some BMAC.
Man, I mean, looking at the stats, I feel like you got to go Sandy and Drake.
Yeah.
Sandy has absolutely torn it up in spring training. His OPS right now is 1333. Obviously, um, short amount of games that he's played. Only 6 games, 8 at bats for Sandy. Drake's had 18 at bats and he has 844 OPS. So I mean, I feel like you can't go wrong with either option.
I don't think they'll do Sandy just because he's not on the 40 man, and Trump already is.
Mm,
And I know they like the way Trump calls games. I know a lot of the pitchers like the way he handles the staff. So
this is true. Chadwick Trump is solid, man.
I don't know. It's a good problem to have, I guess, when you have one of the top catching
Exactly.
prospects in baseball just waiting to take over the keys, pretty much. I guess. I don't know what the plan is. I mean, you can wait till 2026 and DH him and Murphy, in between games or every other day or whatever. I don't know what their plan is. I mean, they've got something up their sleeve. I know Alex really is high on Drake because when a lot of the big trades, C's, Crochet, stuff like that, when they were talking with them, I know the line in the sand was Drake. So they obviously view him very highly, and he obviously, unless it's the right trade, he is obviously going to see some time with this franchise.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. Kind of pivoting over to the rotation, you've got three guys. You've got Ian Anderson, you've got AJ Smith-Shawver, and you've got Grant Holmes fighting for the number 4, 5, and potentially 6, or at least 4 and 5 in longman spots. I want to get your thoughts. Who do you think is the quote unquote odd man out and moves to the bullpen
Hmm, that's a tough question.
if they don't send Smith-Shawver down because he has a option left?
Man, I'm not sure. I looking at these stats, I feel like you cannot leave Ian Anderson out of the rotation. I mean, he's had obviously some shaky starts and some walks, but his ERA has been 113 in the 3 games that he's pitched. Sure, he's walked people, but I mean, I would put him
He's
in the
walked the
rotation.
world.
He has. Hey, that's what you get with Ian Anderson. That's just the Ian Anderson experience, to be fair. But I can't argue against that ERA. 113 ERA and his batting average against is 80. So, ah, I feel like I would put him in there, especially not having any options. You got to go Ian. And Smith Shawver has also looked really solid. Really,
Yeah.
really liking Smith Shawver.
But Grant Holmes, man, I mean, he's got a 180 ERA in 5 innings with a .8 WHIP. I mean, granted, it's been 2 games, but
Yeah, no,
I mean,
Grant
he's
needs to
looking
be in the
nasty.
rotation. He has 180 ERA for Grant Holmes. Friend of the pod, by the way.
Yeah,
What a
yeah.
guy.
I don't know, man. I think Ian's gonna make it regardless. I think he can hold it down at the number 5 spot. I mean, you're not asking him to. He's not a power pitcher, and you're not asking him to be. You're just asking him to pretty much go out there and eat innings. It is kind of I guess you could say confusing because once you get to a playoff spot, like the numbers don't lie. Like Ian Anderson is one of the best postseason pitchers in this era. I think his ERA is sub what 2.2 in the postseason in like 30 innings or something crazy like that.
Yeah, man. I still get chills thinking about that rainy start.
Game 3, yep. I don't know. I think you go in a perfect world. I think you go Ian is your 5, and I think you probably ride with Holmes as your 4. I think you
Yeah.
either send Smith-Shawver down or you let him ride in the pen if they go that route as him as the swingman. They could use a guy like Buck Farmer as that multi-inning guy, which they also have Bummer and Lee too to go multi-innings.
Yeah, no, I feel like at the end of the day, that's the right answer. Like Ian at number 5 and then Grant Holmes at number 4. You absolutely cannot leave Grant Holmes out of the rotation. That's done at this point. So number 5, gotta go Ian, I would think, and then AJ in the pen to start off, or bring him up in a couple weeks, because we'll need extra spots sooner or later. So
Oh yeah, and I mean I haven't looked him up, but you can even say Bryce Elder as a spot. I know he's got more options than AJ. Um, let's see. I mean, Bryce Elder's like been out there the most this spring. I'm pretty much. I mean, he's thrown almost 10 innings, and he's got a 6.5 ERA.
man, that's tough.
I don't think Bryce Elder should see anybody who is not named the Miami Marlins or Chicago White Sox, or Colorado Rockies.
I feel like Bryce Elder is a reliever. He
Yeah,
cannot start. I feel like they got to bring him out of the pen and give us your best for 1 or 2 innings. And I feel like he'll be way more effective that way.
it'd be like a Bryce Wilson kind of situation
Yeah.
with what the Brewers did. I just think like big homestands. You got the Marlins for 3, and then you've got the Dodgers for 3, and I think it's like if it lines up where it's like Sale, Schwellenbach, Reynaldo, I think it's like, oh man, Chris Sale, hangnail, scratched from start. Have to go game 1 against the Dodgers, I guess.
Man, I don't even want to think about that, Jeb. Come on now.
I mean, obviously it'd be a phantom thing, but I think it's
Yeah.
like, why would you have Chris Sale pitching against the Marlins when you have the Dodgers? And obviously we know Snit's a little smarter than that. But if it was to come to something like that, like I think you would bring Bryce Elder up and let him just go out there and get as many outs as he could against the Marlins.
Man, another notable bullpen piece that I'm seeing right now, our closer, Rysel. 3 games, 3 appearances, no runs, and 2 hits on 3 innings? I mean, he's still phenomenal. Like, who would have known Rysel Iglesias was going to be this good for the Braves when we brought him on? Like, seriously.
And it's just been the past 2 years. Like when we brought him over, like I mean, in the 8th inning, like he was a damn good 8th inning guy. But once he
Yeah,
turned back into the closer role, he's been the best he's been in his career.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, I don't know. They've got a bunch of questions. I mean, they've got a bunch of answers. Got a bunch of answers. Ronaldo's obviously going to be in the rotation. I think you'll see a lot more from him this year. Kind of like what Grant said when he was on. I think he's prepared a little better this offseason to be stretched out more. Obviously, Grant has worked this offseason to be stretched out more. And you're going to have Sale, Schwellenbach, and you're going to get Strider back. So I think the rotation will be fine.
Absolutely.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, no, rotation definitely, I feel like it's solid. Again, barring injuries, God forbid, I feel like rotation is going to be solid either way. Um, that makes me even more confident saying AJ should probably be in the pen. A long relief, 2, 3 innings. I feel like he'd be very solid if they do keep him on the big league roster.
Oh yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me if he got sent down either.
Yeah,
He's 3 months older than me. I mean, he's a spring chicken, and
yeah,
he's obviously had some time in the show, and I mean, heck, he's even pitched in the last 2 postseason series.
he did.
So I think he'll be on the playoff roster. Having a guy like him on the playoff roster is really good. A guy who can come in and flame throw and eat some innings, especially if you're losing by so many runs. But no, it'll be interesting to see. I know spring training's kind of in the midpoint. Opening day's the 27th of March, I believe. So we'll see. Another notable thing, Hurston Waldrop. I know this is a little bit of old news, but we haven't touched on it yet. He got sent down to the minor league camp like day 2. He only pitched an inning. Why? Why would you not at least keep him up, till about now?
Um, Honestly, the only thing I can think of is the Braves thought he's probably not going to get much big league time. They'd rather just keep him down to develop further, is what I'm thinking. But I mean, in the one game that we saw, he was solid. He did hit a batter, but one inning pitch, no runs. Um, just probably waiting to see him develop a little bit more.
Yeah, which he'll probably get transitioned into a reliever, I think is what everybody's saying. But you're not gonna let your first round draft pick, you're not gonna give up on your first round draft pick pretty much.
For sure.
Especially from 2 seasons ago.
For sure. I mean, think about it. Future closer, Hurston Waldrop. I like the
Yeah.
sound of that.
Yeah. Well, unless they give Rizal a extension, which I could
This
see
is
that
true.
happening.
Dude,
I could
I'd
see that
love to
happening.
extend Rysel. I'd
I
love
know he's
to.
a little older, but he has been dominant, and I think he deserves it.
I think so too.
I just hope he doesn't age like Craig Kimbrell.
Nah, he'll be fine. I'm a big, big Rysel guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been huge. Um, but yeah, I mean, I this just came to mind, but touching back on the Ian Anderson thing, Ian's only 26. Granted,
He's still super young.
I know what happened with Soroka. Like, and I hate that because he was like, he could not get it here after he was injured for pretty much 3 seasons, and they were in a window where it's like we've got to let you go somewhere where you can pitch and figure it out. And I think it was perfect that he went to Chicago, and he's looked absolutely amazing this so far in spring training.
He has, man. Good for him.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like that's probably the only guy that could shove it up our ass, and I would just sit back and smile. I mean,
Yeah.
and the people who are I haven't seen a lot of it here recently, but a lot of the people who were mad that AA traded Soroka and a whole bunch of other no names for Aaron Bummer, and it's like you're not gonna get anything out of Soroka and like Nicky Lopez and Braden Shoemake. Like Braden Shoemake's been released and DFA'd like 3 times just this offseason.
Yeah. No, I feel like I still like that trade for us. I love having Aaron Bummer in the pen. He's been super, super solid.
I think it's outlier numbers too. Like he's been put in some shitty situations.
Yeah,
Like bases loaded, nobody out. Here's the ball, go get him, Tiger.
exactly.
It's like the 6th inning, and we're already losing by like 4, and it's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, from what I remember last season, Snit basically threw him out there for mop-up duty, like cleaning
Yeah,
up innings. So I'd love to see him in a more solid, like a 7th inning, clean inning type of pitcher.
yeah.
Love to see that.
I don't know how confident I feel with him in the 7th, but like I would like him theoretically like coming in the 6th, coming in the 7th with a runner on, like one runner, get the
Yeah.
ground ball because he's a big ground ball guy, not bags loaded. Like, all right, we need somebody to eat the innings here.
Yep.
But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm very high on Bummer. I love that trade. I think he fits well in this bullpen. Glad they were able to work out a deal with him too.
Yeah, I love that as well.
Some other news. I mean, it's kind of minor. Carlos Rodriguez. Apparently, he's a really good. He's like one of those 25-year-old like former top prospects, but kind of hasn't been able to figure it out kind of deal. Apparently, he's got really good bat to ball skills. He was optioned to Gwinnett camp 2 days ago. Domingo Gonzalez and Roldy Munoz. They were also optioned to AAA camp. So the Braves have 45, I believe, players in camp right now, bearing if they're doing any more moves or if I'm forgetting any. Um, So yeah, I know I saw something too where somebody was talking about sending Perdomo down just so he can rehab because he's been rehabbing. But I think they'll probably keep him since he's like 6'12".
Yeah, no, would not blame them on that one bit.
Oh,
Man, speaking of players, have you seen Eli White?
I haven't been able to watch a lot because they're like 1 o'clock games, and like I'll be at work, kind of like out in the field, and I'm not gonna because I go like house to house, and I'm not gonna be able to like turn it on and then disconnect the Bluetooth from my car and then turn it. But it's just a headache. So I have not, but I've seen he's kind of been on fire.
Dude, he's been killing it. His OPS is 1277
Jesus,
on 14 at bats. Like the
Jesus.
dude's been playing all over the field, infield, outfield, providing solid defense. He's fast as hell. He's like 97th percentile in sprint, according to Baseball Savant. Man, if Eli White, if we can get him going this season,
Oh yeah,
that'd be killer.
it's kind of cool because like if you think about it, like in MLB the Show, like when you do a rebuild or when you sign a bunch of players, at least for me, like I'll go into the free agent pool and I'll sign the most versatile guys that are like 70 overalls. And I feel like that's exactly what Eli White and Luke Williams are. They're just
Yeah,
like not barely hanging on the league, but they're not everyday starters.
yeah,
But you have those guys who can go out there and be defensive replacements, be pinch runners, play everywhere on the field. That's also something you cannot value.
absolutely,
Because,
absolutely.
like, looking at it right now, and even last year, like, Luke Williams and Eli White both spent time in the outfield, and Luke was, like, third, short, second. I think he played some time in left.
Man, if we can get him like on that Whit Merrifield role from last year, where he can just
Yep.
play anywhere, he can slap the ball around, that'd be more than enough. To be honest, from that spot.
Yeah, I love it too because you don't hear about them really complaining. I know a lot of players this spring have been vocal about not liking situations or not wanting to take on certain roles, but I mean, they've been here for what 3 years now. I think this is their third, and they've been fine. You know, Braves play every single day, so to have guys who can sit on the bench and pinch run or be a defensive replacement, guys like that, I think I was at the Phillies series like last March or last August, and somebody had gotten hurt, and I think it was Eli White was playing left. He had just been called up, and he hit a absolute nuke. I think it was off Spencer Turnbull in the Sunday game, and it was the funniest thing ever.
I think I vaguely remember that moment. CJ was like Eli White because
Yeah,
he had seen him in
yeah.
Texas.
Oh my gosh. Um, Dang, we've kept it pretty short. There's not really much left I want to talk about. There's one more thing that I have, and then we can get to guess that brave. And if you have anything else, we'll run it. But a guy who has been hitting the ball absolutely hard, from what I've been hearing, but hasn't really had a lot of luck. But he's got a 1 dot OPS. You know who it is?
JK?
Yep. He's been
Yeah.
slapping the ball around the old ball yard.
Jared's been looking really solid.
I know the average doesn't really tell the story, but from what I've seen, like a bunch of people who go to the games and the highlight reels won't show it, they're like Jarred Kelenic just pissed on a ball to right, and it was like right at the right fielder.
Yeah, man. From the games that I've seen, again, I only watch like the first 4 or 5 innings of spring training games here and there, so I don't watch the whole thing. But from what I've been seeing, Jared has looked really, really solid. Again, like you said, his average is 211, but his OPS 1,000. Well,
Yeah,
1002. So, man, if he could get somewhere around that level for or even like around the 800 OPS
Yep.
for regular season, that'd be fantastic.
He's 25.
Yeah, super young still.
And I don't know. I'm obviously I think it'll be Brian De La Cruz who goes down when Ronnie comes back, but having him as your fourth outfielder is not a bad spot to be in, especially if he keeps slapping the ball like he has been.
Yeah, that's another guy that I've been liking this spring, Brian De La Cruz.
Yeah,
He's hitting
yeah,
368 with an OPS of 842, so he's been super solid as well.
yeah.
Really liking his game.
And he's got options. You can just it doesn't hurt. Just send him down.
Yep.
But I think that's all I've got. We pretty much touched everything pretty quickly. Um, you have anything else you want to touch on? Anything I missed? Anything I didn't talk about?
No, I think the last thing I was going to talk about was Brian De La Cruz, but we just touched on it. So,
Yeah, yeah. I have not heard or really seen anything about besides like the homers, but like Olson, Riley, Ozzy, Ozuna. I have not heard anything from them.
yeah, they've been kind of hit or miss. I believe Austin Riley, Matt Olson have OPSs right around 800 to 840. And again, in spring training, we take those stats with a grain of salt. But I mean, Ozzy's OPS is somewhere around the 400s, and then Ozuna is somewhere around the 700s, I want to say.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, 798. So they've been looking okay. Um, Still a bunch of time left for the until the season starts, so I'm not worried about them at all.
yeah. It's one of those things where it's like I would not hate it one bit if our core just walked up to the plate without a bat and was just seeing pitches. Like I would not care. I know you weren't here for the last pod, but we touched on it a little bit where we don't think spring training like outcomes matter per se. Like Jarred Kelenic hitting 211, like that doesn't really tell anything. Even
Exactly.
his 1,000 OPS, like that doesn't really tell anything. I think the real things that matter is like Jarred Kelenic's at hitting the ball 2 miles an hour harder on average than he was last year in spring. Is his exit velocity going up? Is it staying the same? Is it gone down? Same thing with pitchers. Like Grant Holmes could have a 55 ERA, but it's like 2 innings. You know, but is his fastball velo sitting the same? Like somebody, I know you saw the tweet that I think Dave O'Brien put out where he was like, Reynaldo Lopez was sitting 91 to 93, got up to 95 in the second inning and then got back down to, and it's like, one, why would you tweet that in that context? Like, Ronaldo's not going to go up there and shove it up your ass
Yeah.
in a spring training game. Two, we know that Ronaldo is very known for, at least last year, like sitting around 94, 95, and then once runners got on, reached back in the tank and pulled out 97, 98.
Yeah, no, like you said, that's something that was noticeable last year with Ronaldo. A lot of times he would start out games, and if I'm not mistaken, he would sit right around like 90, 91, 92, and then crank it up a little bit more as the game went on. So, all these stats, we can talk about spring training stats all day, but again, spring training, it's a time for players to try out things that they haven't before, to try
Yep.
new techniques, new approaches, et cetera, et cetera. So, um, there isn't really too much weight to this. They're just trying stuff out before the season starts. So
Yeah. I think I saw it from Bean. He said something like Ronaldo threw like 50 pitches, and I think like 45 of them were like fastballs, and like the other 10 or whatever were curveballs. And I believe he didn't. Ronaldo didn't use his curveball that much last year. I think he was mainly fastball, slider, a little bit of change. I could be wrong. But if he's trying to dial in that curveball too, that could be deadly.
yeah,
To have a 4 pitch mix.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just like we were saying, um, looks like he's just trying stuff out there. So I don't mind it one bit. And matter of fact, I really like it actually. If he can
Yeah,
get that curveball down, that'd be killer.
yeah. And it's like, um, the guys over at Baseball Unstitched, shout out to them. If you're listening, go listen to them. After this podcast, they do a very good podcast. Very good guys over there. Um, Go to their ex, tell them they suck at baseball. Um, we got a little bet going on with them, but no, they said it good over there. They were like, Corbin Burns, for example, is like an 80 grade cutter, you know? Like, Corbin Burns is probably not going to go out and throw his cutter at all, if any, during spring training. Because I'm paraphrasing, but they were like, he could roll out of bed and throw that cutter and know how to exactly throw it and throw it for a strike on opening day. He said they're just working on new pitches. They're working on stuff that they're not as comfortable with. And I think from what I've heard, I think Spencer Schwellenbach's doing that a lot too this spring. Because he, was developing pitches on the fly last year, so he's trying to tune those, hone those in, kind of develop a feel for those, which obviously you want during the season. So
yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. Like we were saying, spring training is the time to develop and hone those pitches in to get them down for the regular season. So, not surprising one bit.
Well, I guess it's time.
All right, man. We're playing Guess That Brave.
So before you jump in, if this is your Brave, last week Ben did Paul Yanish.
Okay.
So.
It's not my Brave.
Okay.
All right. So my Brave was with us for 2 seasons, 17 and 18. His major league career was over 15 years, so between 2007 to 2002. I'm sorry, 2022.
So from 2007 to 2022?
Yep.
Jesus Christ. And he was with us in 17 and 18?
17 and 18. Played 81 games in 17 and 105 in 2018.
Golly. So he wasn't a pitcher.
Not a pitcher, a position player.
Is he a lefty or a righty?
He is a righty.
Righty. Does he have any awards?
He was an All-Star 2014. And that was with Minnesota.
Oh my gosh, that just took out my answer that I had. Oh man. Minnesota, I feel so dumb right now. Oh gosh.
All right, one more hint. He was a catcher.
Oh, Kurt Suzuki?
You got it.
Yeah. I even mentioned him earlier in the show.
The hint kind of gave it away, but
yeah. I would. You know who my guess was?
Who was
Brandon Phillips.
Not a bad guess.
That was my guess at first, and then you said that he was. I think. Well, you said Minnesota, and you said he didn't have any awards besides one All-Star, and I was like, yeah, no. Brandon Phillips had like 30 Gold Gloves.
Yeah. Love me some Kurt Suzuki.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the signing, but then again, at the time, I was not old enough to recognize like what he meant. So like, I don't know. It was like 2017, so I was like in 8th grade or a freshman.
Stop.
And Tyler Flowers had like a week stretch or something where he hit like 2 home runs and was hitting like 250, and Kurt Suzuki was like. Caught like 3 games and like went hitless. And I DM'd the Braves admin and I was like, why are you starting this bum over Tyler Flowers? Come to find out, like, after the year was over, Kurt Suzuki was like marginally better than Tyler Flowers.
Yeah, dude.
I hated Tyler Flowers. I hated him.
I think most of Braves country did.
I'm sure Tyler Flowers is a sweet dude. Like, I'm sure he's a good-ass dude, but I hated him as a baseball player.
Man, there was one time in 2018 that I went to SunTrust at the time, SunTrust Park, and it was like 2 hours before first pitch or an hour and a half or something like that. So I was right next to the Braves dugout, and I saw Tyler Flowers, and he seemed like a swell guy. He seemed
Oh
just
yeah.
like a great person. And in my head, I was just like, "You suck."
How big was his head? I feel like he had like a Frank Thomas looking head.
Dude, it was a pretty big noggin. I
Like
can't
his
even lie
head
to
was
you.
probably the size of a semi.
Yeah, yeah, he's actually a pretty big dude, to be honest.
Oh yeah. He's one of those dudes like I would want to if I was going to be in a bar fight with a former Brave, like Tyler Flowers is probably going to be towards the top.
Absolutely.
I can't think who's some other people like B-Mac. B-Mac would obviously have to be a guy. Dan Ugla. Dan Ugla's the answer. Dan Ugla is the answer for if I was in a bar fight, it would be Dan. It would be with Dan Ugla on my side.
Man, I feel like you can't go wrong there. I would go Frenchie,
Yeah.
Tyler Flowers,
Yeah.
um, probably Chip.
Chip. Yeah, yeah. Man, oh man. Maybe like Fred McGriff, but even McGriff was kind of like slim.
I don't know. I
Maybe
feel like he could
Maddox.
throw down.
Do what?
Maddox. I feel like he could throw down.
Nah,
McGriff.
dude. Just did you ever hear the story of Maddox pissing all over Chipper's leg in the shower?
Yeah, dude.
Let's see. Who do I? Let's try to like. I would not want Glavin. I wouldn't want Glavin.
Yeah, I could see that.
I wouldn't want. I wouldn't want Matt Olson. I wouldn't want Ozzy. I wouldn't want Riley. Well, yeah, no, I wouldn't want Riley. They just seem like they're just too nice.
I need those psychos. Like, who are those psychos?
Chris
from the
Sale.
Braves? Dude.
Chris Sale. I could get behind Chris Sale. Strider. I feel like Strider's like a just like you just like looked at him the wrong way at the bar and he's like, "What's your problem, dude?"
Man, I could see that.
Oh Lord, Reed Johnson. That's another one
Dude.
from when they got in the fight with the Brewers. Reed Johnson's another one.
Oh, man.
I wouldn't want Huddy. I wouldn't want Medlin. I for sure wouldn't want Mahalam. Johnny Gomes, I guess. Nick Swisher. Those would be pretty good ones.
Swisher's an underrated pick. I feel like
That,
he...
yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want Bourne. I wouldn't want Prado. Oh, Lord. David Ross. I wouldn't want him. Who's... I mean, I think Dan Ugla's like the number one guy.
I mean, I feel like you can't go wrong with that pick.
Golly. Did you ever see the video of Terry Pendleton grabbing a hold of Chris Johnson, like in the
Yes.
dugout? I mean, would
Yeah.
Terry Pendleton be a good one?
Dude. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. It would not hurt. I would want to see that.
Maybe Troy Gloss?
I like Troy.
I mean, he's kind of a big dude.
Yeah, he is.
I can't think of anybody else, man. Like, Adonis Garcia, I probably wouldn't want him. I for sure wouldn't want Dansby.
No.
Dansby would be like anywhere from the face down.
Man, honestly, if I were to keep it to the current Braves and I could only pick two guys, it would be Olson, Ozuna.
Whoa, now.
Ozuna
That would-
for obvious reasons.
Yeah, That would be a good question. Like next off season or next guest we have, like who's one guy on the team, like current or like former, like you'd want to have in a bar fight. Like I wouldn't want Grant. I love Grant, but dude, he'd like somebody would like kick his chair out from under him, slam his glass down, and Grant would be like, "I'm sorry, man. Do you want me to buy you? Do you want me to buy you
Dude,
another drink?"
Grant's just
Grant,
such a nice guy.
he's too much of a sweetheart. God, I wouldn't want Smoltz either. Not after that hit by pitch in Colorado video.
Mm.
Yeah, it would. I think my top three would probably be Ugla, Flowers, and who was the other one I said? Swisher. I'm gonna go a tie between Swisher and Gomes for number three, and I think that's gonna be my top three.
That's solid.
I think that's a good solid top three.
Man, Tyler Flowers is an underrated pick for that. I mean, that
Yeah,
dude's huge. I feel
he
like he
is
would
massive.
kick ass, dude.
Yeah,
He would kick ass.
dude. Especially like I don't know, like he would just have the veins just bulging out of his bald head. He'd just. Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I was talking bar fights. Oh Lord. That would be a great question. We'll have to ask Ryan and Ben that. We'll have to ask it to him on the pod though. I don't want a text answer. I want to see their face reactions.
Yeah.
And I know Ben's probably gonna listen. So Ben, if you are gonna listen, you're gonna have to think, but that yeah, we'll ask that on the next pod for them.
Yeah, that'd be a good question to bring up.
Yeah. Well, I'll post it on X too. Like when I drop the episode, I'll post and I'll be like, drop who in Braves history would you want to be in a bar fight with? Drop like your top three.
Okay.
Oh, we could do a poll. Dude,
yeah.
we could do a poll like Ugla, Flowers, and whoever else.
Yeah,
Swisher,
that'd be good.
Gomes. But all right, we'll hop off here. Unless you got anything else, Jose.
That's it, man. Just waiting to see more baseball and waiting on the 27th of March.
I hear that. Follow us, X, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Follow the gaming channel on Twitch. The show's coming out this week or next week?
Early release is on Friday or Thursday
Okay.
night at midnight, and then the full game comes out on Tuesday.
Okay, so I know Ryan's taking, I think it's Friday off. Or maybe Thursday. I hope he's taking Friday. I'll double check with him. But yeah, go follow us on everywhere. Like, subscribe, comment, rate, share it with your friends, parents, dogs, neighbors, goldfish, all that jazz. We really appreciate y'all. We've seen some growth here, and we hope to continue growing here in 2025 and putting out more content for y'all.
Hell yeah, man.
All right, we'll end it there. We'll catch y'all in the next one.
Peace.
Landed right on the shoulder.
Hawk tour.
Yeah. Let's do it again.